So today we're going to do the handover video on the Auto Trail Tracker LB. We're going to start on the outside and then we'll move on to the inside. So firstly, coming over to the passenger side, you'll notice you've got your fill up point. Put your diesel into there, and that's where it's all filled up from. Opening up the passenger side door rather, you'll notice on your door sill you've got your tyre pressures, which is just there. This vehicle has been fitted with Remis cab blinds, as you can see. All you need to do to operate these is simply pinch and pull out. Lead the blind from the bottom and allow that to connect up via the magnetic strip on the side there, and that goes the same at the front on the other side as well. When taking these back, pinch again, pull back, and as I say, lead from the bottom and allow that to connect up. Push it into place, and as you can see, it just connects in like that. Now, as a rule of thumb with anything in a motorhome, and it goes for these Remis cab blinds, if it feels like it's being forced, you are probably doing something wrong, so please do bear that in mind. Whilst we're on the passenger side, you'll notice you've got your bonnet release catch, which is here. I'm going to pull that now and on to release the bonnet. Coming round to the front, underneath the bonnet there's not that many things that you need to know. The main things that you need to know is if you ever jump start in the vehicle. I'll pause the video now, pop the bonnet and show you where to do that from. With the bonnet open, you'll notice that you gain access to all the bits underneath. If you jump start in the vehicle, you've got this little nipple here, and that is for your negative point. And then your positive, which is just underneath this cap here, connects onto there. On the cap, you'll notice you have a plus sign, which is just on the top there, and as I say, that indicates the positive. Just open that flap up by using a little bit of leverage from your key, and that'll gain you access. They're the main things that you need to know, but just to show you a couple more things, you've got your engine oil here, along with your dipstick below that, your brake disc fluid, your engine coolant, your power steering fluid, and then finally your washer fluid, which is just in the corner there. Moving away and round the side of the vehicle, you'll notice you've got your hookup point, which just through sliding the cap gains your access, and that's for your 230 volt hookup when you're on a site. Pop that back down. Directly beneath that, you'll notice that you've got a grate pipe. This is for your wastewater drain down point. You have three main drain down points in the vehicle. You have your wastewater, which is here. You've got your fresh water, which is further down, which I'll show you. And finally, you've got your boiler drain down point, which is internal to the vehicle. As I say, the waste and the fresh are all external. And how you empty that is just by pulling this lever down, and that will open the tank and obviously drain the system down. Now, when you're on site, you'll have a massive grid. Drive over that grid and open all of your drain down points, and that'll drain all the vehicle of water. Once you've done that, what I recommend is leaving the pipe open, or the tank open rather, so all the vibrations of the road as you're travelling home are going to make sure all that water is out of the vehicle. Moving on, you'll notice that you've got a bit of storage here. This is where your LPG gas bottles are stored, which I'll open up for you now. My mistake, guys, this is your just your storage area. Your LPG is on the other side, but you can see in here you've got your vehicle's book packs, which are just here, along with your external shower, which will just connect into your next point, which I'll show you. Moving along, by sliding the cap upwards, like I did with the other, this gains you access to your external shower point. This is the same as I showed you in here, which connects by removing this point here. Simply remove this black cap, and then the end of that shower point can simply replace it and connect into position there. From there, you can then turn the pump on the inside of the vehicle. Obviously, make sure you have water in the vehicle, and then press your tap on to allow the water to come out. Moving on from this, as I say, your next drain down point is your fresh drain down point, as indicated by the blue tap below the vehicle, and this is once again external to the van. Turn that to empty it, and again the same applies. You'll have a massive grid on site that you can dump all that water from. In the back, you've got your Truma heating panel. This is in essence your vehicle's chimney, so it does get very hot, so do be careful of that. And in the back alongside this, you have another storage locker, which will give you storage underneath the bed. With that open, you can see in here you've got your carpets along with some awning accessories, but the main important thing in here is your final drain down point, which is located here. in a very convenient spot, luckily. And this is your boiler drain down point. Your boiler drain down point is probably the most important drain down of them all. And every time you come to stop using the vehicle, you need to make sure that this system is drained down. Now, in the up position, as shown here, that allows you to drain down the boiler, and in the down position there, that closes the boiler, so completes the circuit. So when you are, as I say, moving off site and you're not using the vehicle anymore, simply flick that up and leave that up in that position, along with all your other drain down points. Leave them open during hibernation and storage to ensure that you get no frozen water in the system. When you come to use the vehicle, of course, you do need to make sure that you of course pop that down like so. So moving away and going onto the back of the vehicle, you'll notice you've got a tow bar on this vehicle, along with your reversing camera, which is up at the top. Coming to the corner, again, you have another access point into the garage facility just at the back here. And you will also notice that you have two more flaps. The first one being an external barbecue point, which is, as you indicated here, LPG. You of course need to make sure that your gas is obviously on for this to work. You'll just have a little bayonet fitting which will connect into there to allow you to operate that barbecue point. Next to that is your fill up point for your water. As you can see, this is currently locked, I believe. Oh, there we are. I've opened it up, and as you can see, this is where you can hook up your water. So for example, when you're on site, this system does work slightly different to the majority. When you're on site, you can use a simple food grade hose pipe which will go straight into here and allow you to fill up the system. Obviously when it's running out, you know that you've filled up the system. Now with that in mind, as you can see, you can, if you wanted, get a whale gun which comes with this system. So you can buy one of these additional. That'll allow you to slot into here, and it will in essence allow you to connect up to an aqua roll. So for example, if you're on a site where you don't want to keep on going getting your water, you can get an aqua roll with a little pump in there, or a whale gun rather, which will connect that into this, and whatever water that you use will simply be taken out the aqua roll and put straight back into the vehicle. This little unit here as well is also for a smart site. So for example, if you did have a smart site where you have got water on hand here, you can connect up to it via this. Now moving on, next you've got your cassette toilet, which I'll open up for you now. So with the cassette toilet open, the main thing with this is to make sure that the blade on the toilet is closed before removing the system. If the blade isn't closed, you'll simply break the system and break the arm, and you'll have to have a new one. So make sure that that blade on the toilet is closed. To remove, simply push up on the latch and pull out like so. Once out, there's a couple things that you need to do to drain down this system. I'm going to pop it on pause and just put the system down here so I can show you that. So with the cassette out, as you can see, you've a couple different options with this. When you're emptying this, all you need to do is simply pull out this neck, which is difficult, as you can see, to do with one hand, but once out, you can then unscrew this cap and using the orange button on the back, click that in, and that'll allow you to remove all the contents. That in essence releases a vacuum which will allow all the contents to come out steadily without any splashback. Now you'll notice that you have got an orange little lever here which turns. This should always stay in this position. You should never ever touch this. This is in essence what makes contact with the blade and allows the blade to close and open into the cassette. So that should always stay as that is. Please make sure that that is in that location. If that is slightly askew or across, this system will not go in and therefore get jammed and ultimately break. And this is one of those items that I say, if it does feel like it's being forced, you are definitely doing something wrong. Just reevaluate what you're doing. Now when you're putting it back in, simply pick up via the handle, slide into place like so, and allow it to connect into position with the handle there. The neck of the system can then just be pushed back in and locked back up. Now next to here, you'll notice you've got two fridge vents which are either side. Please do make sure that, obviously this is where the fridge pulls its air from to cool the fridge, so please do bear that in mind. Naturally, if you've got the sun beating down on this side of the vehicle, that's not going to do the fridge any favours, so if you can, try and keep this area under shade. Moving on, as I mentioned, your LPG is actually over here, located in this locker. I'll unscrew this now and open this up just so you can see the facility. It'll take 2 bottles, 2 6 kg bottles I would recommend, but you will at a push get 2 11 kg bottles in there should you want to, and that'll just need to connect to your regulator, which is just that silver device there via a pigtail. Before going into the main body of the vehicle, you'll notice that you've got a flush awning which is on the side here, along with a T little junction there. You'll have an awning pole which will be somewhere located in the vehicle, and that'll simply connect up to there. Once connected, you simply wind out, and that'll wind out to 3 or 4 meters with the legs out. Before doing that, however, you need to wind it out to a position that you can reach it, and then you'll have 2 legs combined in the awning, which you simply fold down and let them take the weight of the awning. Once you've done that, angle the legs just like so, and then you can walk the awning out. Do bear in mind though, if it is windy, please put it back in, because as you can appreciate, it is like a massive sail, so it could potentially damage the vehicle or injure someone if wind was to get underneath there. Once in the vehicle, as you walk in, just above the habitation door, you have your main control panel along with your Truma heating system. The control panel for this is operates digitally. As you can see, you've got your main isolator switch there, and just as you can see, that's just turned off your lights. Clicking that back on, that powers everything up. Across from there, you've got individual option of selecting your lights in the main body of the vehicle, as you can see. Below that, you've then got your door light, which is on the outside of the vehicle, and then finally, you have an option of the brightness of the lights, depending on what your preference is. You've then got your settings panel here, and this allows you to change your battery select, and also allows you to select what the solar is charging, which is really nice. Personally, if I was you, I'd always leave it on leisure battery, just to make sure that when the system's pulling its power, it's pulling it from the leisure battery rather than the vehicle battery. Because, for example, if you was to ever drain down the vehicle battery, you're going to be able to start the vehicle. But if you're draining down the leisure battery, the worst case scenario is you're not going to have any lights on or nothing will work, so you'll still be able to get out of that situation. You'll notice opposite here you have got some tank heaters as well, which is for your water tank on the vehicle. You can flick through the options like so. However, this is just getting a little bit technical. This is mainly just for bits like brightness of the screen, language, and just various settings. Coming back to the home page, going on the other opposite side, you've next got your pump. Now your pump needs to only be turned on when you've got water in the system. Once you've filled up, click your pump and come to your taps, including your shower. Turn your tap on and turn it to hot. What that's going to do is it's going to pull fresh water from the fresh water tank into the boiler system and then out of your tap. It's going to spurt and splutter, and then when it's running steadily, you know you've primed your system for your hot water. Once you've done that, flick it over to cold and it'll do the exact same. Once it's running steadily, as I say, you have primed your system for your water. Now, the reason I always do it on a hot first is the boiler that this uses naturally doesn't allow for instant hot water, typically what you'd get at home. It therefore needs a good half an hour to 40 minutes just to heat up. So with that in mind, if you arrive on site and you get water in that boiler as soon as, by the time you come to use it, it should be nice and warm and ready for you. And as I say, you need to do that for your wastewater, for your taps in the sink, and also the shower as well. Now moving on with this, once you have primed your system, these each have micro switches on. So when you turn the tap on, it'll activate, and if you turn it off, it'll deactivate that micro switch rather. So in essence, it's not going to burn out that pump, so don't worry about that. Now coming back up to your control panel, below your pump shows you your fresh level along with your wastewater level. So we have a little bit of fresh in at the moment, and using the options you can flick through. This will next show you your battery voltage for the leisure and the vehicle as indicated. It shows you the current battery voltage. As I say, we're not plugged in at the moment, hence why it's showing red. And then it'll also show mains current, which I've nothing in at the moment because I've not plugged in. And then the current solar charge, which is dead handy. And then we're back to your water levels. Just like so. Now that concludes the panel. It's really easy, dead simple system to use. And across from that, you've then got your Truma heating system. Your Truma heating system is a combi boiler which is used in here and works really well. To operate it, turn it on. Click that button. Everything below the line is what you want to select, and as you can see, when the symbol is flashing, that indicates that you are hovering over that symbol, or that option rather. You're using the dial, you can turn that to flick through the options. Firstly, you've got your vehicle temperature. Click that and you can turn it all the way up to 30 degrees. Next, you've got your water temperature. You've got Eco, Hot or Boost. Eco is approximately 40 degrees. Hot is approximately 60 degrees, depending on obviously what you are using. And Boost, what that will do is concentrate on heating the water rather than heating the vehicle itself, depending on obviously whether it's struggling to heat that system. Next, you've got your fuel selection. You can either run this off gas, Mix 1, which is a mixture of gas and 1 kilowatt electric, Mix 2, which is a mixture of gas and 2 kilowatt electric, EL1, which is 1 kilowatt electric, and finally EL2, which is 2 kilowatt electric. More often than not, when you're on a site, you'll run it off your EL2 kilowatt electric, or a Mix 2 of gas and your 2 kilowatt electric. But obviously, if you're wild camping, you run it solely off gas. Finally, you've got your fan. Now at the moment I've nothing selected, so it's just going to give me vent, the option vent, which will simply circulate the air which is currently in the vehicle. Failing that, however, once you've got something selected, you will have the options of high or boost. High is a more intense fan, which will blow the air through, and boost, as I said, for the water, instead of it concentrating the water, it'll concentrate on heating the vehicle. So it depends on obviously which one you want to select. Coming back up to the panel, you've then got an option to set a timer. You've then got the option to set the time, and then finally you've got your settings. Within your settings you have a few options, but the main system that you need to know, or option that you need to know within the settings panel, is your reset button. Your reset will reset the entire panel. The reason you need a reset, or the times when you're going to need a reset, is, for example, if you get an error code. Now you'll get an error code, for example, if you have selected a wrong fuel that you haven't got. So for example, if I'm trying to heat the vehicle using gas, but I've no gas to the vehicle, you'll get a warning light on here flashing, and it'll show a code. If that is the case, you need to go into your settings panel, click that reset button. It may say preset, click that, confirm it, and that'll reset the entire system. The screen will flash and it'll say initializing, and then it'll come back on. Once it's come back on, you need to wait 20 minutes and then for a full reset, and once that's happened, you are good to go. Now to turn this system off, you need to always make sure that you turn this system off independently of this. This does not control that, and vice versa, so always make sure that this is turned off before unplugging. If you was to, for example, unplug the van without turning that off, you'll get an error code, because obviously you're taking away a fuel that is used to supply the heat. Coming down here, you'll notice you've some switches for your heat, for your lighting, along with a button in here, and that is for your step on the outside of the vehicle. So coming away from the control panel and into your lounge, you'll notice in the front lounge you've got your 2 bench seats which keep it nice and open. At the top you've got all of your storage, and it's worth mentioning up here you have got an additional table which will slot into here, as you can see, and acts as a small coffee table for when you spin these chairs and someone's sat there. At the front you've got an entertainment screen here. Turn this and that drops down, really nice and neat, and that just lines back up like so, and will connect into place. Up at the top you've more storage, as you can see, and then the next one along you'll notice you've got your Sergeant power supply unit. This is the main isolator for the system, and this is the system shutdown. As advised by the technicians, you should always shut down the system when in hibernation and when not using the vehicle. So after finishing with the vehicle and you're not using it, click this button and that will isolate everything. What it will also do is take your panel off and stop that from working and enable that system to hibernate. If you wasn't to do that, what will happen eventually is that system will begin to drain and therefore not correctly work, and you'll have to obviously power up the unit again. So please always make sure you turn that off, or turn that on rather, for when you're using the vehicle and when you're not. Underneath here, the nice thing with this system is everything's in one place, so you've got all of your fuses, along with, as you can see here, your RCD breaker, which is your trip switch. An example of this, which is really good, is as you can see, there's a little test button on there, as indicated by the T. Now, for example, if you're in the vehicle and you can't get any lights to the vehicle, and you're really struggling for power, come to this and click the T. If all of these switches trip and drop, you know that you're getting power to the vehicle, so it's therefore not a fault with your hookup lead or your or the site itself. It's a fault with your vehicle. Once you've figured that out, you can go to your fuses and figure that and work out which fuse has blown. Up at the top as well, you have two more buttons up at here, which are on the charging, the heating and hot water. Always keep them in, just so it's working and operating, and that'll allow it to be enabled. Coming away from the Sergeant unit, on all of your blinds, and all your windows rather, you've got blackout blinds and a pull down fly screen, and all of your windows can open using the arms like so. Push that out, and using the black knob on the side you can tighten that into position. You have got the option of venting here as well, just to allow a bit of airflow in to the vehicle. But do make sure, as I am doing now, to shut the window securely when travelling, because you don't want to allow any air through there. It'll simply rip the window off. Underneath these two bench sheets you have got a really good bit of storage, and this area does of course turn into a bed. You convert that by pulling this panel out, and you have some plastic legs which fall down and create the main double bed there, at the front that is. Coming back up, you've got some more storage, as you can see here, along with your oven and grill, and also your hob. On your hob, the nice thing with it is you've got an electric ring there, along with 3 gas. And as you see, we've got your sink here with a bit more storage underneath. Now coming back up, you'll notice that you've got your microwave here. Your microwave will only work on 230 volts, so don't try and run that off 12 volt mains electric, as you'll simply blow the system due to the power. So that can only work on 230 volt, not 12 volt. And one thing I did forget to mention, in the middle cupboard here for storage, you have got your aerial, which is just onto here. All you need to do is click that on, and as you can see, you've got a little blue light to indicate that that's on. Coming back into the vehicle, you'll notice that you've got your fridge, which is on here, opposite the kitchen area. Your fridge is a 3-way system, and using this option here, as you can see, it glows up with the options. Using this button, if I click down, holding it, this will allow me to flick through the options like so. I'm just going to turn that off because I'm not using it. But the reason it's a 3-way fridge is there's 3 ways to power it. The first way is to power it via 230 volt, and on the system here you'll get a little small plug symbol, so when you're on site you can run it off your 230 volt. If you want to run it off your 12 volt leisure battery for when you're travelling, you'll have a little small symbol of a battery. And then if you want to run it off your gas for when you're wild camping, you'll have a little gas flame which you can select. Now the great thing with this fridge is you have got an A, which stands for automatic, and that's an automatic changeover, and that'll automatically assign whatever fuel you have to operate the fridge. Now similar to the heating, if this fridge was to use or was to try and be powered with a fuel that you haven't got, what this will start doing is it'll start flashing. You'll get an error code, and from that point on you'll need to reset the fridge. So do be careful, make sure that it's of course setting on the system with the fuel that you have got. In the fridge, opening this up, you've got a freezer up at the top along with the fridge below. Coming away from the fridge, underneath you have got a bit of storage. Along within here, this is where your table is stored for your freestanding table, which you can obviously use in this area, should you not want to use the coffee table. Going straight behind us, we're into your toilet area and your bedroom. Before talking you through the bedroom unit, you have got a door here, which connects into place to give you a bit of privacy, which is nice. And on this side, this is your toilet cassette, as you can see. Now, when using the cassette, you need to always make sure that the blade on the toilet is closed. The blade that I keep on mentioning is this piece of plastic here, and this needs to make sure that this is closed when not in use, rather. When in use, push that across and that'll open the cassette. Once you've done that, all your waste can drop into the cassette, and once you have done the waste, the little blue button on the top there, give that a click and that'll flush the system. Once you have finished with this and flushed it, simply close the cassette and that'll keep all the odours out. You close it for two reasons, mainly for the odours, but two, it does get you in the habit for when you come to remove the cassette, you don't get anything stuck or jammed. Now, coming back up to your flush, as I say, the flush is on this this blue button, but it is worth mentioning you will need your pump on for that to operate. As you can see, there's a little image of a cassette here, a little symbol. When that goes red, or you'll get a red light somewhere on here, that will indicate that the cassette is full and needs emptying. Other than that, there's not much more to the bathroom unit. As I say, that you've got your tap here, along with your shower, which just need priming. And obviously you have got a bit of storage throughout. Moving into the back, finally, you've got your bedroom area. And obviously this does fold down to create a big double bed, so you don't have to sit with it reclined. At the sides and at the top, you've got a good bit of storage, along with a little bit over here as well. You've a bracket here for a telly as well, which can connect up to there, along with two windows which work the same as the other. You have got an option for putting a bit of storage underneath here as well, as you can see, but the majority of it is accessible via the garage. So that's been the handover video for the Auto Trail Tracker LB. I hope you enjoyed.